How's it going, guys? My name is Nikki. Thank you for joining me here again for another shave. Today, I'm basically just going to be going over why I used to hate shaving and how it became basically a hobby, because I used to just dread shaving. Every single week, my face would be getting fuzzier and fuzzier, and I would just be like, well, I guess we got to do it. But now I look forward to it, and I have a whole YouTube channel about it, and so, yeah, I'm basically just going to tell you all about my old terrible technique. But first, we're gonna be lathering up in a bowl today. I've noticed that the bevel brush, it's rough on my face when I do face lathers. And I talked to somebody else earlier, and they said they had the exact same problem with this. Bowl lather's fine, but for some reason, if you try to face lather, it's a little too rough. I'm gonna be going in on a bowl lather with Sterling Mountain Man. Now let's get that lather built. Latherific. We got a beautiful lather built up in the bowl, and as I'm sure you can tell, my face is very dry, so I'm gonna run it under some warm water, and then we're gonna apply some pre-shave oil. The face is now wet, and now we're gonna be using some of that Bevel pre-shave oil. And now we're gonna allow that to soak in for just a few moments before we get that lather going. I can definitely tell that I used more than last time. I can actually feel the layer of oil on the face. And so I think that's an improvement from last time, where basically I couldn't feel it at all. Now let's get to it. Let's paint the face with a beautiful lather that we have built. All right, now that we're all lathered up, let's go ahead and get our razor. We're gonna be using the Bevel Double Edge Safety Razor today. Why did I used to hate shaving? Well, long story short, my technique, there was no technique. I never really had anybody to teach me how to shave growing up. And so, I was pretty much just handed a razor and told, just rub it across your face, it'll take the hair off, like you're good to go. And so I was just like, okay. Nobody ever told me about like using pressure or going with or against the grain. Nobody ever told me anything like that. And so I was just handed a razor with no information and told to figure it out. And that wasn't bad necessarily. I just had no real guidance as to what I was actually doing. Not to mention that I was also taught that shaving cream is not very important. It's not that I was directly taught that, but essentially my first good few shaves had zero shaving cream involved in any way, shape, or form. I used soap and hair conditioner for a really long time. And I'm sure, as you could have guessed, that would result in irritation. Almost every shave. A lot of pulling hairs. A lot of just being uncomfortable the whole time. And so, I always dreaded having to shave. It was always a thing that I was kind of nervous about doing. Mostly just because of how consistently I would just nick myself in the same spots. Because like I said, nobody ever taught me about hair growth direction or with the grain, against the grain, nothing like that. And so there were a lot of spots on my face where I'd be going against the grain not even realizing it, let alone knowing what that even meant. And I just couldn't understand why anybody enjoyed it or would want to do it. And so in turn, I just kind of grew out my facial hair a little bit because of how fucking uncomfortable it was, just constantly trying to have to shave it all off. And so I had a goatee and a mustache for quite a while, just because I didn't want to shave it off because I knew it would suck. Well, it's not even that I knew it would suck, it's just I knew I would be a little uncomfortable for a few minutes. That's when I found Sinatra Lennon on YouTube about a year ago, because I was trying to figure out how to shave with less irritation. And the biggest thing that I saw was double-edged safety razors. And I was like, I've never even heard of that. And so I did a little bit of research. And I decided maybe that would be a good route to go. Around my Adam's apple is impossible. I'm trying to go completely with the grain here, and it is hard. But all of the answers, apart from just shave better, were generally pointing to double-edged razors. I had never used one before, and all I knew was they were old school and they looked intimidating. And I was very nervous to try them at first. I was not sure if it would be anything that I could either A, like actually do, or B, I could do while still enjoying it, because I essentially thought that safety razors were not the same thing, but very similar to straight razors. I would even call safety razors straight razors on occasions, just because I wasn't sure at the time. But I started watching more and more YouTube videos, and I realized maybe shaving with hand soap and conditioner isn't the absolute best thing that I could be doing. And so I decided, well, I need a little double edge in my life, it seems. What do? I went down to Walgreens. Got me the King C Gillette. Never really looked back since. I got some Sterling shave soaps quite a while after my very first time trying a double-edged razor. I was still using either shaving cream from a can, or I would still just use conditioner, because I couldn't justify, in my mind, spending money on shaving stuff if I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. And so I stuck with the double edge for a little over a year, I want to say, but I never paid any attention to my technique, and so I was still getting pretty mid-tier shaves. And I couldn't figure out why, because it seemed like everyone else was having good shaves. And so I decided to do even more research, learned about some techniques, learned about grain mapping, learned quite a lot, honestly. A lot of Geo Fat Boy, and a lot of Sinatra Lennon. Those were my main folks teaching me how to shave. Never understood the concept of riding the cap for a long time. And so instead of having my angle correct, I was mostly just scraping my face with the razor. Which to this day I can still be guilty of. Nobody's perfect. especially not me. Moral of the story, if you don't like shaving, it might be because of your technique. Because for me, that was absolutely it. And now that I've switched to bowl lathering and face lathering and just things with brushes, and I'm trying to get my technique better with the razor, I went against the grain again like I did in my last bevel video right here, and I got 2 nicks. It's okie dokie. I'm still learning. I am no professional, but I feel like every single day I'm getting a little bit more competent. I'm gonna go ahead and wash the face off. We're gonna apply some post-shave. Missed a spot on my jaw. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit. All right, gonna hit the face with some cold water. I got a little bit of redness where I went against the grain really heavy, but I should have learned my lesson from last time. Seems like I did not. Dry off. We're gonna hit the face with a little bit of some Dickinson's Witch Hazel Toner. One thing that nobody told me about this, it smells terrible. And the post-shave balm, Nivea Men, as always. All right, everybody, that's the shave. We're feeling nice and smooth today. But like I said, the moral of the story, if you're ever learning how to shave, just get proper equipment, learn about hair growth direction. Don't just toss yourself in blindly, not knowing anything. Do a little research, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start to become slowly obsessed with different safety razors, and maybe even straight razors, you never know. And it might elevate your shaving experience to a whole nother level, because normally, if this was done with a cartridge razor, I would have at least 2 nicks right here, several down here, and a couple more on my neck, whole face red. I think you can see the difference. But until next time, once again, thank you for hanging with me during this shave. My name is Nikki, and I hope you all have beautiful days, beautiful shaves, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.